Let me ask you a question. Have you ever started something new and you start off full of enthusiasm and excitement only for them to turn into disappointment and frustration because it just turns out to be so much harder than you first expected? Maybe you saw someone doing it on YouTube or a friend was able to do it and they made it look so easy, but when you tried, it feels impossible. Well, in today's video, we're going to uncover the truth of this common experience and how we can actually turn it into a source of strength rather than a setback or a deterrent. So stick around and let's jump straight in. G'day guys, welcome to today's video. Now today's video was inspired by a quote from the legendary samurai and swordsman Miyamoto Musashi. So please forgive me if I pronounced that name wrong. But essentially, the quote goes, "It may seem difficult at first, but everything is difficult." Now this simple yet profound statement holds a key to understanding our journey whenever we set out to actually learn or try something new. And as adults, we tend to forget this fundamental truth, that being a beginner and sucking at something is the first crucial step and a natural step in our learning process. You see, we often jump into these new ventures and we're expecting instant success, but then we inevitably hit that wall of difficulty. And then when we hit that wall of difficulty, a lot of us become disencouraged, or maybe we feel embarrassed, and so we kind of give up or just stop trying to get any better. But we have to keep reminding ourselves that everything, and yes, I mean everything, is difficult at first. When you first try to do anything new, it's gonna suck, but we just have to remind ourselves that that's a natural part of learning. Let's now dive into this topic a little further and explore how we can actually embrace being a beginner, to overcome those initial hurdles and transform our mindset into one geared towards growth and learning. So stay tuned, because this discussion isn't just about understanding the principle, but also how we can apply it to empower ourselves whenever we try to set out to learn or do something new. So let's jump straight into the main part of the video now. Let's start by looking at the most natural learners that we know of. And that, of course, are babies. So have you ever witnessed a baby trying to feed itself with a spoon? So first it grabs the spoon, usually in an awkward way, because it's still working out its fine motor skills. And then it kind of just starts stabbing at the food. Then it tries to get the food into its mouth, but often misses, maybe stabbing itself in the eye or hitting its cheek. But essentially, the food goes everywhere. Or think about their first steps. Those wobbly, uncertain moments just before it tumbles back down and falls over again before it can take its first step. But the baby, being the baby that it is, just tries to stand back up and try again. It's pure trial and error. Yet they persist, unfazed by the challenge. They just know it's something that they have to overcome, and they just keep plowing forward. And so why is this important to today's discussion? Because it shows that learning and growing is a natural process of overcoming challenges. And it's also natural and necessary to overcome these challenges. Now, as babies, they don't know what embarrassment is. We don't know what self-doubt is. So we just keep trying. No matter how many times we fail, we just constantly persist until we're able to overcome these challenges. Now, this is a very important message to remember as adults, because all too often we expect to be instantly good at something new. And when this doesn't happen, because it never does, we tend to get embarrassed and we start to feel inferior for some reason. But just like the baby learning how to walk, we must embrace the beginning stages, the struggle, as part of our journey of growth. Now I'd like to share with you a personal story from my life that will also highlight this concept. So I first started playing the guitar when I was about 16 or 17 years old. And what inspired me was a friend from school who played the guitar. and he made it seem so effortless. And it was the first time I had actually seen anyone with my own eyes produce the music that I was used to hearing on my records and on the radio and that kind of thing. And it filled me with this fascination and excitement that I could also produce that music. So I found myself a guitar teacher, and essentially after a few of the basic lessons in that, my first goal was simply to transition between two chords, which was the A minor chord and the C chord. Okay, so there's not that much difference between them. In fact, I'll show you the chords now. Let me grab my guitar. All right, so now I have my guitar. I want to quickly show you these two chords, and you'll see how simple the movement is, but I'll explain how long it took me to master this in the next part. So these were the chords. So this is our A minor chord. This is our C chord. So as you can see, only one finger needs to move. Okay, so it seems pretty simple, doesn't it? So it looks simple, right? Let me tell you though, it wasn't. It was torture. It took me weeks just to get that one finger movement to sound good. Okay, to actually transition between the two chords so it sounded musical-ish. There was a lot of fumbling, my fingers were killing me, I couldn't get the sound out of the guitar, and I felt quite disheartened. And I thought maybe I'm not meant to play the guitar, I'm not musical. But then my friend reminded me that he went through the same struggles. He said, yeah, when he first started, exact same thing, but he stuck at it. And he also reminded me that that day he showed me that he could play the guitar, or that he could play that song that I really liked, he had been playing the guitar for almost 10 years. And so he gave me that encouragement, that motivation to just stick with it, and it gets easier as you get better, but you have to suck at the start. Every guitar player does. And now I can play along to my favorite songs, I can write my own songs, I can easily transition between C and A minor, and I'm glad I stuck with it. Because even though I did suck at the start, I'm now okay. I'm not Slash or anything like that, but I can play along with my favorite songs, I can make music, I can sing along with my friends and all that kind of stuff, all because I didn't give up at that point where I sucked. And this experience taught me a crucial lesson, which I think is best expressed by Jake the dog from Adventure Time. And so Jake the dog says that sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. And it's that journey from sucking to getting sort of good at something where a lot of this initial growth happens. And it's where we find that strength and resilience to keep going. And once we're sort of good, it gets a little bit easier, and then momentum starts to take us as we get better and better and better. Now in Zen Buddhism, there's a concept known as Shoshin. And I apologize if I mispronounce that again, my Japanese is terrible. But essentially, it translates into English as beginner's mind. So it's an approach to life that allows us to be open, eager, and to have no preconceptions, pretty much like a beginner. And this mindset doesn't just approach the things like learning the guitar or learning a new sport, it's more of an approach to life itself. When we embrace the beginner's mind, we free ourselves from the pressure of having to be immediately good at something. And it allows us to then just embrace the journey of continuous learning, continuously growing. And now this brings me to another personal example, starting this YouTube channel. You see, I've always been the type of person who's more comfortable with expressing themselves through the written word. I'm used to writing my thoughts down rather than speaking them to a camera. So starting this channel was stepping into a whole nother world of sucking. Yet, every day I show up to make these videos, to learn, to grow, and hopefully moving from that sucking stage to the sort of good, sort of okay stage. And so if you have any tips or comments on how I can move from the sucking stage to the sort of good stage, please leave a comment and let me know how I can improve. And now I want you to think about your own life experiences. Is there something that you've always wanted to do or try, but you've held back because you thought it was too difficult, or maybe that you were too old to try something new? Maybe you've always wanted to learn a new language. Maybe you want to learn the guitar or some other musical instrument. Maybe it's a new sport, a new hobby, or it could even be a career change. Whatever it is, I challenge you to adopt the beginner's mind towards it. Embrace those initial challenges and always remember that every master was once a disaster and every expert was once a beginner. Just like you, just like me, just like everybody else. Before we could learn to walk, we were all that baby that was crawling, just standing up and falling back over, standing up, falling back over until it succeeded. So now my question is, what will your next adventure be? Where will you allow your beginner's mind to take you on your journey? Drop a comment below, as I'd love to hear all about it. Now, as we begin to wrap up today's discussion, guys, let's just take a moment to recap what we've explored. So we started out with the initial truth that everything is difficult at the start, as put so eloquently by the great swordsman Musashi. Then we looked at the learning process through the example of a baby trying to eat and trying to walk. And this taught us the beauty and the necessity of persevering towards our goals, not giving up at those first initial setbacks and initial challenges. Then I also shared some personal stories from my own life. The first one about the struggles of learning how to play the guitar for the first time, simply going from A minor to the C chord, and now stepping into this unfamiliar world of YouTube creation. And I hope these stories help to illustrate that the paths from sucking at something to being sort of good at something and then moving beyond is a path that we all must embrace if we want to continue to learn and grow and get better. And then we discussed the concept of the beginner's mind and how by adopting this mindset, it encourages us to approach new challenges with openness, eagerness, and without any preconceptions. And so the main message that I would love for you to remember from this video, guys, is that the journey of learning is not about avoiding difficulties, but it's about embracing them. It's not about immediate perfection. It's about gradual progression. And every challenge that you face, every mistake that you make, is actually a stepping stone moving you closer and closer towards perfection or mastery in whatever field you've chosen. So whether it's learning a new skill, starting a new venture, or pursuing a long-held dream, the key is to start, to try, and then be patient with yourself as you learn and grow and overcome these challenges. And so I encourage you to look at your challenges, not as a barrier, but as opportunities to learn and grow and really discover your potential. Remember that it's okay to be a beginner and it's okay to struggle. What's important is that you keep moving, you keep progressing one step at a time. And that's going to do it for today's video, guys. So I hope today's discussion has inspired or motivated you to adopt that beginner's mindset in anything that you set out to achieve. Remember Musashi's words that everything is difficult at the start, and also Jake the dog's sage advice that the sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. We all must go through that journey. So learn to embrace it and learn to welcome these challenges, because that's what's going to make you grow on your path to mastery. Thanks for sticking with me all the way to the end, guys. I hope this video has been informative and you got something out of it. If you did, feel free to share it with anyone else who you think might benefit from today's message. Also, don't forget to like the video, give it a thumbs up. It'll really help me and the channel grow. If you do enjoy this type of content, also consider subscribing. I post a video every Monday, Wednesday and Friday with the same kind of content. And lastly, don't forget to leave a comment with anything that you would like to express from today's video. Remember, you never know who your experiences or who your words are going to help on their journey. And until next time, guys, I'll leave you as I always do and remind you that you are the captain of your own life, so make it extraordinary. And until next time, please take care of yourself, take care of everyone else, and I'll see you in the next video.